Yes, people, welcome back to another video on the channel. This is episode 2 of Project 1%. On a mission to make myself 1% better or improve by 1% every single day for at least the next year. So right now, just on my way to the gym. It's about 10 to 10 in the evening, and I feel good about the fact that I'm on my way to the gym, because I'm not gonna lie to you, during the day, obviously, I was meant to be bucking up with my boy, but he couldn't come in the end. I probably would have gone earlier otherwise, but c'est la vie. And yeah, so I'm on my way now, but obviously as you get later on into the day, you start feeling tired, can't really be bothered as much, etc, etc. But yeah, I'm sticking to my word there. Act on plans and not feelings, right? So sticking to my word there and getting in for a full body session actually. And it's interesting because basically I see a therapist, right? And this week we were having a conversation, and there's a couple things, two points I want to quickly raise. One of them is around this whole sticking to your word and stuff like that, right? And she recommended a book to me called The Four Agreements, I think it's called. So I've started reading that. I'm only maybe one chapter in or so, but I've only read the introduction, and now I've got the first main chapter of the book to go. And the first chapter is basically on sticking to your word, and it's called something like being impeccable to your word or something like that. So it's quite interesting that like the timing in with regards to that, and then obviously today in terms of sticking to my word and getting out to go to the gym, right? Which is interesting. The other thing I actually wanted to mention as well was that one thing about me is I feel like I'm very bad at appreciating things like after the fact. And so, for example, I was having a conversation with my therapist, and I was basically saying, this session was yesterday, by the way, or 2 days ago, sorry, on Tuesday. And I was basically saying that like I'm the type of person, I start things and don't finish and stuff like that, which is why a lot of the reason why I wanted to start this whole 1% project, or Project 1%, should I say. And she turned around and she was like, Darren, what are you talking about? Like, I'm sitting there talking to a person who completed a marathon and is saying that he starts things and doesn't finish things. And that really put things into perspective for me, because as I say, like, it's so easy for me to forget things like that in the moment. And you guys might be thinking, that's mad, I've got a whole channel that was dedicated to training for the marathon, etc, etc, right? But then once it's done, it's like, it's done. Do you get what I mean? And like I'm always thinking about the next thing, and I wonder if that's like because of like my competitive / kind of playing sports a lot when I was younger, well, more so football a lot when I was younger. And it's like, you play a game, you win a game, and you can't rest on your laurels. You're only as good as your last performance. You have to look forward and think about the next game and the next fixture, the next opponent, right? So I wonder if that's where that's come from, because yeah, I mean, as I say, I struggle with that a lot, but she really put it into perspective. So as part of this 1% Project 1%, what I'm going to be doing is at the end of the day, kind of just reflecting on that day and like something that went well, something that I did to improve myself by 1% in the day, etc. So that I've got a log that I can look back on and really start to appreciate things that I'm doing and the moves that I'm making and where I started and where I'm going. Do you get what I mean? On that as well is actually quite interesting as well, because so this morning I went out for a 3K run, and this is gonna sound mad considering again I've run the marathon now, but I was just so happy that I was able to complete it in like continuously without stopping. Don't get me wrong, I ran at a very slow pace, but again, it's like I didn't run for 6 weeks after the marathon, right? And obviously I kind of let myself go. Obviously I was very restrictive in terms of what I was consuming. Not very restrictive, but I was restrictive in terms of what I was consuming during the training. And so obviously once I completed the marathon, I started drinking again, or I make it sound like I had a problem. I just, you know what I mean, just like casually, whatever. But yeah, obviously I'd completely I drank a little bit of alcohol over the Christmas to New Year period, but that was it, right? Eating, again, I was relatively good for the most part with eating, etc. and stuff like that. And obviously I was training a lot, right? Whereas the 6 weeks after the marathon, I didn't really train much, even including gym. And I did no running for 6 weeks basically. And I went to do kind of a couple 5Ks 2 weeks ago and 3 and 2 weeks ago, and they just went horribly. So before today, I attempted 3 runs, all 5Ks, 2 outdoors, 1 indoors, and they just went horribly, like absolutely horribly, right? Like I couldn't make it past 2K without stopping, etc., etc. My back started to hurt, all this, right? So it was just very interesting. So I remember I was chatting to ChatGPT, my coach, as you guys know, and I basically had said what was going on, and ChatGPT kind of reassured me and was like, look, you're not just going to lose, you spent 7 months training, you're not just going to lose all your fitness in 6 weeks, even if you haven't run, etc. But the kind of mechanics of running has now become unfamiliar again, which makes sense why you're feeling the pain and stuff like that, right? And so that kind of encouraged me that, you know what, okay, if I just keep kind of plowing through it, I should be alright. And then, as I say, today got out and managed to do the 3K. So yeah, very happy with that. Very, very happy with that. And so yeah, that's today, 2nd of July. As I say, 3K run done. Going to the gym now. I'm gonna try and read some more of that book today as well. And then yeah, we'll see what tomorrow brings. Oh yeah, before I sign off as well, actually, my therapist was also telling me about a thing that she does actually, where she puts like small wins into a jar, and then like anytime she's feeling down or anything like that, then she will kind of go into that jar, pick one out and read it, type of thing, which, you know what, I think it's actually a good idea for me, because I do well with stuff like that. Like, for example, obviously I used to be very scared of heights, right? I say obviously like you guys know that, but I used to be very scared of heights. And I did a bungee jump when I was in Malia from 200 feet, right? And now I actually reference that a lot in situations where I might be a bit anxious or scared about doing something. So for example, when I first got into sales and cold calling and stuff like that, I'll be like, bro, like this is not going to be as bad as the bungee jump when I did that. Do you get what I'm saying? And so, yeah, in line with what I was saying about writing down the one thing over the day that I did and stuff like that, I might see between those two, like the jar and just completing it in a notebook. I might see which one of those I take forward and actually do, because yeah, I actually really, really like that idea. But yeah, anyway, just getting to the gym now, so I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Go bang this full body session, and then we go again tomorrow. Peace.